Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Today we have the two main men on the show. We have Paul Nealon from Irish Football Fan TV's back, aka our Merseyside correspondent from the south side, and we have Mr. Dublin Ross Cowell on the show as well. Welcome back, lads. What's the story?
As a former Basmo, Paulie, I believe you have some good news for Irish football fans.
Yeah, well, according to Mark McCadden from the Star, League of Ireland is due for a resume date of the 31st of July, which is great news. And I don't know whether fans will be allowed to go in or what's the story there. You know, Varadkar came out recently and said, you know, you can have crowds up to 5,000, which if you're thinking League of Ireland, you know, that's a good sign for some clubs. So we'll see how that kind of comes about. But positive news regarding just having football back in the country, because there was so much talk of the league not coming back and stuff like that. And you think of players like Jack Byrne and Patrick Hu, Michael Duffy, these types of players who have real quality. Like, I mean, Jack Byrne obviously in the Ireland squad and so on. So for them to go a year without football would be madness. So the fact that they're now, it's due to be announced, I think this week. He said it maybe as early as today. He came out and tweeted it earlier. So good news.
Yeah. Also, that'd be great to get some games on TV, and for people that are still at home and they're like, right, you know what, I'll actually check it out as well. So it would boost the ratings. More people, it would get more interest in it as well. But also, after last week's show, which I actually really enjoyed, I know Ross didn't really, but Paul, you definitely did. We just agreed on that when Ross went off to the Jacks. But Ireland have announced they're coming back as well. Paul, do you have anything to tell us about that?
Just, you know, we obviously have the two Nations League games. Stephen Kenny's first game, I think, is away to Bulgaria. Then we play Finland at home then in September. And then in October, we have the playoff against Slovakia on the 8th, which obviously would be a huge game. But I think it's really good now, the fact that we have the two games to prepare. He's came out and kind of already highlighted the fact that he wants players like James McCarthy and Shane Long back in the squad, which I think is huge. I think himself, like, because as well, they carry that international experience. They've played in Euros and stuff like that. They've played in our bigger games in recent years. Like James McCarthy, every time I think of our kind of joint killings, he's been there. Maybe if you want to include Wales in that joint killing, I don't really include it. Like, I thought we could have beaten them anyway. McLean goal I'm referencing, but most other games that we had James McCarthy in, he's played in the joint killings, and I think he's massive to have there. And I think I was with my uncle yesterday watching the Merseyside derby, and he was going on about his stats. I haven't seen the stats, but apparently he had, in the 22 games he has played, his stats are unbelievable for tackles won, and I think tackles made. So, that's probably the same thing. But anyway, he's such a crucial player to have. I think the fact that Kenny's already made kind of a fuss about him and has already been in contact with him is huge. Shane Long as well, and obviously I think we'll get into it then later on, obviously, with the likes of Obafemi, Aaron Connolly all had a decent weekend with their clubs. So it's looking positive all around now. Kind of it's been a good Monday, I suppose, when you kind of look back on some of the stuff. I think Burnley now are playing tonight against Man City, so we'll see some more Irish players in action as well. And Seamus Coleman had a great weekend as well, obviously getting man of the match. So yeah, it's all positive.
Ross, what you make of that 2 games as well for Stephen Kenny before this huge game against Slovakia? Like, previously he was just going to go straight in, all guns blazing, but now 2 games. That's great news, isn't it?
I think that's absolutely phenomenal news, and very, very much needed 2 games. He's going to obviously implement a different style of football to Mick McCarthy has. It's probably going to be a bit more free-flowing football, and I'm very excited that Paul mentioned James McCarthy's come back into the team. Prior to all his injuries and stuff like that, you know, he was linked with 40 or 50 million pound moves to Man United and co. So in terms of centre defence midfielders, you know, when he's on his game, he's as good as anyone. Shane Long, I mean, he could probably surpass Noel Quinn and become Ireland's second top goal scorer of all time if he can get a string of games together. So, like, these are exciting things for us as Irish football fans. And again, you know, Sheffield United have had a great season. So, you know, Enda Stevens and John Egan, he probably had the worst weekend of all the Irish lads. And then, you know what I mean, if you look at it, then, you know, Aaron Connolly, I think, is probably the most exciting young Irish player we have at the moment. Like, put the ball at his feet and he's dying to beat someone.
Yeah. Also, for people that didn't hear as well, the Champions League and the Europa League are back. They're coming back in August, and it's almost going to be like a mini tournament for people that didn't know. So this is like almost going to be like our Euros for this year, our summer bit of crack. The Europa League returns on the 5th of August, and Champions League returns on the 7th of August. And then the Europa League final will be on August 21st, which is a Friday, and the Champions League final will be on August 23rd, which is a Sunday. So make sure you get work off on the 24th as well.
and it's going to be played in World Cup format, but there's only one leg.
Yeah, it's that's going to be really exciting. Paul, what do you make of that?
Yeah, well, like, you know, you mentioned there that, you know, it's going to be like a Euros. We obviously missed out on the Euros. We've had 3 months without football, so we're kind of over the worst of it now in terms of, you know, the break of football. It's just going to be football. I'd be interested to see when the actual season itself stops and restarts, like when they're going to actually start back with the Premier League and the Champions League qualification for next season and stuff like that, with all this kind of all kind of accumulating on top of each other. So I'm excited for. Obviously, it's the best teams are there. Liverpool are out of it now because Atletico knocked them out. So that's obviously good. There's no fear of them winning it now. So that's good. Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I haven't really been keeping an eye on it as much this year. I don't know why. I just I've been so busy. But now the fact that it's going to be there and we'll be able to, you know, see it with no other real distractions, because I think the Premier League will be done by then.
Yeah.
And all the other leagues will be done. So yeah, it's something really to look forward to. Even the Europa League. I like the Europa League. Maybe it's because Everton were in it in the past, a few seasons ago, and I always kind of like watching the games. I think they can be eventful. Some games you're kind of looking and it's a really good team against a really bad team, and it's just kind of a no match. But you can get some games that are really good, and obviously at this point in the tournament, you're kind of getting to the better rounds. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Yeah, sure. When they come back in, it's going to be the last 16 in both competitions. So the creme de la creme will really be there. And
the one leg does make it interesting, though, Barry, doesn't it? It really means, like, you know, anyone can win. Any dog can have their day on a say. Atalanta could win the Champions League this year.
They're really good.
There we go. Like that's actually a very funny point. Yeah, and we will be doing a weekly show in the build up to that as well, because this is some crack. But lads, the Premier League is back. Brilliant to see. I want to touch on the very, very, very first game, because last week we talked about what we expect to happen. Obviously, the players came out and had Black Lives Matter on their backs, and everyone took a knee beforehand. The only person that didn't was actually Sadio Mane when he legged it when the referee blew the whistle. If people haven't seen that, check it out. It's hilarious. But lads, it came back. Like, everyone seems united. Like, it was a great thing to see. Hopefully, this goes on for ages. And like, I wouldn't mind if this happened forever, to be honest. Because, like, if that keeps happening, this will turn into something bigger. But I only want to touch on it now. Hawkeye. Sheffield United scored against Aston Villa. Hawkeye wasn't tested beforehand. Keeper brings the ball into the net, and it wasn't given as a goal. How could this happen, Paul?
No idea. Like, you see from the replays now, he's actually behind the goal. Like, and his own player bundles him in. It's not like Egan was pushing him in. You know, John Egan was standing behind that defender, and you can clearly see he went behind the line. Like, even from normal play, and you're watching it, you're like, that's a goal. Has to be a goal. Like, he's in the net. He actually touches. I'm pretty sure he touches the net with his hands.
Yeah, he wraps up
while he has the ball.
Wraps up in it, yeah.
So I'm just like, how could everyone else can see it? You know, why if VAR is there, why isn't it used properly? And like, it's a clear and obvious error. So why isn't it called into action there and given a goal like that? Like, because you think of it, the race for Europe's like now at the minute, and Sheffield United are right amongst it, and they're screwed out of a result for them. I know it's good for Villa because, you know, it's a point closer to staying up for them. But like, I just felt so sorry. Maybe it's well, obviously we have that Irish bias, you know, with Sheffield United. We want to see them do well. Maybe not you lads, because you're United and you want to stay ahead of them. But you know, in a general sense, you want to stay ahead of them because, you want to see our Irish lads play at the highest level possible. So for them to get into Europe would be brilliant, whether it's Europa League, Champions League, or whatever. But they've been screwed out of a result there that could be massive for them come the end of the season. You know, they obviously will come to it. You know, the result against Newcastle. You know, that's two really bad games for them now. That's, you know, they really have to bounce back to 7 games to play. And they have to kind of get good results from them. But when they're getting screwed over, like with the Hawkeye, If I was a Sheffield United fan, I'd be fuming. I'd be questioning the VAR and just be like, why is it even there if it's not going to be put to good use?
Exactly. Ross, I have to ask you this question as well. That was happened just before halftime. And then when they went to the halftime, obviously everyone knew it was a goal. Like, come on, the refs are going to be told it's this, that, and the other. Previously, in the Championship, Aston Villa played against Leeds, and then Aston Villa scored a goal against Leeds when Leeds had a player down. And then Leeds had scored against Aston Villa when they had a player down. And then Bielsa allowed Aston Villa to run through and score a goal to make it 1-1. There was pandemonium over this. How come Villa didn't, because everyone was watching this game, how come Villa didn't go, do you know what, maybe we should just let them score at half-time? Yeah, I mean, you can't be like, no. And then when it's your turn to while everyone was watching, everyone was talking about this, how come they didn't just let them score a goal? Because it would have been fair.
Well, I think it was more different that they would then be losing, as opposed to, I think in the Villa case, I think Villa Leeds, I think I made it a draw, if that makes sense. So you're actually like letting yourself be losing. And also,
but they were losing. They were losing though. They should have been losing. Yeah,
but they weren't.
But they should have been.
They were going to concede losing. It's different when you're winning and you're like, oh, it should be a draw. But when you're fighting relegation and you're like at the very, very foot of the table, and this could be very prevalent. Like, what happens if Aston Villa escape relegation this year on goal difference to someone like West Ham, and West Ham go down? And West Ham are going to be like, they should have lost to Sheffield United that time. And VAR screwed us all over. Paul, I don't know if you saw the tweet that went a bit viral, but it definitely did in the Irish community. Declan Rice put it. Did you see that? That was top of the rage.
I actually have him blocked off our Instagram, our Twitter, sorry, because I just hate seeing him pop up. But I did see the screenshot did the rounds. Like,
yeah. Well, top of the rage for anyone who didn't see it.
Yeah, what did the tweet say for people who didn't see it, Ross?
Basically, Declan Rice was like, "Because I don't know what VAR is for." Oh, sorry, Paul. Do you want to? You go ahead. You're our Irish correspondent, so you give us the lowdown.
No, Roy said, as you said, he said something like, "Is that not what VAR is supposed to be used for?" Or something, and some fella said something like, "You know yourself, Declan. It's some days you're English, some days you're Irish. You know yourself, something like that."
Yeah, sometimes it's in, sometimes it's out. Sometimes you're English, sometimes you're Irish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, so like, just because. Well, obviously, I've no horse in the race really, bar a few some of the Irish lads playing for Sheffield United. But just because so many people were watching, they were the first game. They all took the knee. Everything about Black Lives Matter. Like, the world was watching. I'm surprised that they didn't agree on something at halftime. But that's the way it happens. And when you're in a dogfight, you're not giving away anything for free. But lads, like, I just wanted to go over that because we're going to get into the really good stuff. Arsenal, obviously, running them up this weekend. Came back. I was watching their Arsenal fan TV channel. They were like looking how they're going to get into the top four. But after getting a hiding off Man City, I'm going to give every team a one game, like as in, like, get the cobwebs off you. You know what I mean? You can't judge everyone by the first game, like, if they play that bad, you know. But then in the second game, they were worse. The team selection by Arteta wasn't great at all. The subs were even weirder when they were looking for a goal. They didn't bring Martinelli on, who was the player of the month in January. They didn't bring Ozil on, who's making $350,000 a week, and he wasn't even in the squad in the first game. Then they go and lose, and then of all people, it was Mopai. And by the way, I was watching the game, and then on another tab, I had Arsenal Fan TV's live stream of their all five of the lads watching the game. So it was brilliant. And then if people didn't know, DT left the screen before everyone realised it was 2-1 and it was Mopai. You can't write this stuff. That's why I love football. But lads, what do you make of Arsenal? And because Ross, last week you said Arsenal actually have a really good squad. But now let's see what Paul thinks this week.
Well, they're becoming a parody, aren't they? I mean, you know, they bring on David Luiz to give away 2 goals. He gets sent off. You know, calamities. It couldn't have went any worse for them. And then you kind of look around. If he goes out of the team, who have they got at the moment? I don't know whether it's injuries or Arteta not playing them. You know, all the confusion. Even Arteta's interview after that game, I thought was a bit bizarre. The way he came out and he was talking about David Luiz, and he kind of wouldn't answer whether he was going to give him a new contract or not. And then it was just kind of like, well, why are you even talking about him then? And then Luiz came out himself and was like, oh, well, maybe I should have thought about my future more by the 3 months I had off. I was just like, it was just such a weird interview. I didn't get it at all, and it's just kind of all that confusion. I think Arteta, like Ancelotti, I think I said last week, they're gonna need time with the squad, and obviously bring in his own players before you can kind of ultimately judge him. Good managers will make good players play as well, though. So I don't know. The jury's not out for Arteta for me. He's not proven. Like Ancelotti's proven he's gone places and won things, but I think Arteta, the jury's still out on him. And but as well as that, I'd let him sign his own players first before I'm gonna give him any real judgment. But Arsenal as a club and everything else, and with the Arsenal fan TV stuff like that, people are more interested in seeing who's going to rant this week than they are actually the football. Do you know what I mean? And I know a lot of Arsenal fans that kind of feel sorry for them because I've known them supporting Arsenal up through the years. But then again, they had the glory years then with Henry and stuff like that. Like as an Everton fan, I've never experienced anything like it. So in many ways, I was jealous, but at the same time, I was happy to see Arsenal doing well. Same with any of my mates who followed United, I was happy to see United doing well because
just by the Liverpool fans, your Liverpool mates.
Yeah, of course. But but that's natural. Like most of my mates would like to see Everton do well for me. Like so, it's kind of a mutual thing, But that's the thing about Arsenal is like. Everton and Arsenal are kind of competing now for a spot that's not even important, like top 10 probably at the minute. It's just parody.
Ross, what do you make of Arteta? Like when obviously he's one of the disciples of Pep, and the Arsenal fans were ecstatic when they got him, and some of his decisions are really, really strange.
Yeah, I do think tactically he's very, very strange decisions, and I do think player selection is very, very strange. Look, Arsenal are in big, big trouble at the moment. Me and Barry were actually having a chat yesterday. We went for a coffee, and I was looking at that Arsenal squad. And if you take the back four of the midfield, like none of the top six would take one of their players. You know what I mean? They're all below par. They seem to be a bit all over the place. Bellerin doesn't seem to offer, as an attacking wing back anymore. He seems to be so much safer. I don't even know who Arsenal centre halves are at the moment.
When's he going to start planting the trees, Ross?
When they win a game. So maybe you'll have to start playing a few reserve games to get the job done.
For people that don't know, explain that tree situation, Ross.
So Hector Bellerin said he's going to plant 3,000 trees for every game Arsenal win for the rest of the year. So far he's planted 0, and that is nil, zilch amount of trees. So he might have to start doing it for every goal Arsenal score or something like that to get a few trees planted.
Yeah, DT tweeted out 2 hours ago. He goes, Arsenal need a major overhaul if they're ever going to be competitive again. For years, we've been adding plasters to huge cracks. It's time to start again. For me, get rid of Bellerin, Socrates, Chambers, Cedric, Luiz, Mustafi, Kolasinac, Ceballos, Ozil, Lacazette, Mkhitaryan, and El Nene. As fans, we also need to start by lowering our expectations of the players we buy. Even I'm guilty of being lured by big names and how they'll fix everything. Look at Wolves, for example. Good players that have now become big names and top drawer players. It can be done.
I'm actually surprised that they still have Mkhitaryan and El Nene. I didn't realise they were still there.
I was thinking there myself. I was just like, is he still there?
Yeah. Lads, Arsenal had some amazing years. Like, obviously United did as well. I really, really cannot see Arsenal picking up again unless they stick with Arteta now and let him blood in these new players. Like, for instance, Ozil's out of contract next year. So is Aubameyang, and their biggest one of their biggest prospects, Saka, is out of contract next year as well. It's almost like United a couple of years ago when we were buying in these mercenaries like Di Maria's and Falcao's into the team. And look what's after happening now with Solskjaer creating his own team and getting rid of the likes of Rojo's and Sanchez's. I think it is possible for Arsenal to fix things, but they need to almost take that method. But to get back to the glory years, there's so many teams above them now. It's actually frightening. As Paul said, as an Everton fan, they're almost fighting for a position that, like, it's for the top 10, which is just pure mediocrity.
Yeah, but if you look at it, like those majority of Everton players would walk into that Arsenal team happily. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
They really would. Well, like Lucas Digne would, Seamus Coleman would, Michael Keane would.
Michael Keane wouldn't. Michael Keane's awful. He had a good game yesterday, but he's awful.
Yeah, but like, he's gonna be on the bench.
Yerry Mina. You said Yerry Mina.
Yerry Mina starts as well. in fairness, Leno, Pickford, samesies,
No,
really. You know what I mean?
Leno's better. Leno's better.
Well, I'm just saying, both good goalkeepers. And then like midfield, like Sigurdsson will start.
But he doesn't even start for
Tom,
Everton, Ross.
yeah, but
Sigurdsson. I don't think he's that good.
Tom Davies will start.
Arsenal.
Like,
we'll stop with your head, man. That Arsenal.
I'm just saying, there's a backbone there in the Everton side. There's not a backbone in the Arsenal side.
If you spoke to any Everton fan, they'd tell you. We'll come to it later on, but there is no backbone there. That's the problem Ancelotti needs to fix.
Yeah, I was actually looking at Everton's team, and I was like, "What's the story with this? With the new guys starting, Tom Davies starting midfield as well. You've like an abundance of players can't even get into the team. Like Schneiderlin's meant to be leaving now. It's and Walcott.
Good riddance.
It's actually. Everton are probably on the same boat as Arsenal now, actually needing to get these new young hungry lads getting the huge wage players off the books. But overall, like Arsenal, like I think it's because like as we've grown up as United fans, Ross, and then it's always been us against Arsenal trying to beat them, and then we're like they're slagging us, we're slagging them, and then seeing that going on, it's just like it could bite us in the ass. But 1 week it's comedy, next week who knows, they could win.
The thing about the keeper is though, like they're really gonna miss Leno now from that injury he got, and obviously I don't know if you want to touch on it, but the whole thing with Mopoy, obviously he's total villain towards Arsenal fans at the moment. But I thought what he did, like most people would have done anyway. He went up challenge for the ball. He put the keeper a little bit off balance. It was unfortunate what happened, but I don't think he meant to actually, injure his knee or anything like that. It's a natural kind of coming together. I think he kind of shoved in a little bit, but I didn't think it was as bad as the Arsenal players were all going up to him acting the hard man and stuff like that. Like, but it's just gone.
I think if you never saw the incident and heard what happened, you'd swear Mopoy like did a bleeding WWE drop kick on him, from the halfway line. But like, you actually see he sort of momentum sort of barrels him through into him, and like Mopoy's not even very big as well. You know what I mean? It's not like it was Lukaku running him over.
Yeah,
he wasn't happy going off though, was he? Like he was pointing at his face, calling him everything. Well, obviously couldn't hear what he called him, but then. Obviously, Barry, you're probably going to touch on it, but like obviously the result, then he kind of goes in last minute and gets the winner.
Yeah, like that only really happened because Leno was so close to the line of going out and like handballing it. So that's what he tried to stay in. If that had been like in the middle of the box, it would have been grand. I
think that's the thing though as well is. As a Premier League player, and Brighton are fighting, like that was the first game they've won this year. So they're fighting for every little edge and every little, advantage that they could get. So to get the keeper sent off, you could see why he done it. Like I don't think he's like entirely in the wrong there. Like if anyone's in the wrong, it's obviously him. But I would have done what he did.
Yeah.
Put it this way: if Aubameyang ran into Matthew Ryan down the other end, people would have been like, "That is fine."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it was a strange one, but like, geez, the absolute calamity for Lewis Dunk's goal, scramble in the box, and then Mopoy to rub salt in the wounds with that goal was something else. As Barry says, you can't write that stuff.
Lovely assist by Aaron Connolly as well. The way he spun it in outside the foot was lovely, and obviously it was a great finish then.
Well, I just think he starved them. I just think as a left winger, he's brilliant.
Well, he was down the middle.
No, I'm saying in general, I think he's playing left wing because he comes in and he attacks.
Yeah, I think watching him the other day, he looked very, very rusty coming off. Like the only thing he did right was the assist. If you're a Brighton fan, you won't be complaining because obviously it's the winner. But he didn't look good at all. He looked a good bit off the pace, which is natural. He's only back from injury, and obviously it's the first game back, so it'd be like a pre-season friendly for him. Be excited to see kind of 3 or 4 games in what he does, because obviously it's such an important time for Brighton, and they're going to need players playing. Obviously with the 5 subs, I'd expect him to get a lot of game time. Shane Duffy obviously didn't play at all, but he was more so getting Mopoy in a headlock and keeping him away from Guendouzi at the end.
Yeah, at least he knows he has a career after when he retires as a bouncer. But like Arsenal have some really, really tough games. I was looking at the fixtures, and I think they have 9 games left. And out of the they have 8 games left, and now they get 8. I think I almost expect them to. I expect them to only win 2 max, which is going to be interesting to see. But also they're like Southampton. Then obviously like destroyed Norwich. And then one of the biggest, most anticipated games of the weekend obviously was Manchester United taking on Spurs. Going into it, I thought they were going to win. And then on the day off, I was like, you know what, I think it's actually going to be a draw. Paul, I'd like to get your opinion on this. Obviously, the first half wasn't great, but then when Paul Pogba came on, what you make of this now?
I actually fell asleep in the first half. So
Man, it was too exciting for you, was it?
I woke up for the first goal, the screams of the commentators, Gary Neville or Martin Tyler, one or the other. So yeah, I woke up to the goal. But yeah, second half when Pogba came on, I thought the game really, obviously the tide shifted in United's favour, and his quality has never really been doubted. It's the consistency, and everybody said it. All the pundits said it. I think the main highlight of the game was Roy Keane's halftime analysis.
Yeah, that's what we're definitely getting into.
Yeah, but after that, like even he went on about Pogba saying he's absolutely excellent, but it's consistency. He just doesn't have it for United anyway. He had it at Juventus. Whether it's the manager doesn't motivate him or he can't get himself G'd up for games sometimes. Because when he comes on and he plays, he's effective. I've seen Gary Neville arguing his case against Carragher last week, saying like, how could you not have him in I think it was a United Liverpool combined team or something like that on the Sky Sports show. But like you see, like even the feat from him to win the penalty. Surprised he didn't take the penalty, but I thought United were going to go on to win it then, but unfortunately for you guys, they didn't. But it was good. Just good it was a good game, but you could see, and I thought when Fernandes went down, I thought they were, because they had given a penalty originally, and Mourinho was fuming. So I thought actually United were going to win it. They definitely finished the stronger team. Spurs just again they just don't strike me any confidence at all about them. They just kind of dither along.
Yeah, they seem to be going a bit through the motions after that goal. But like obviously that was only the first game back. But Ross Pogba's back. I presume you fully expect him to start alongside Bruno Fernandes against Sheffield United now during the week. But what you make of his impact now, and what do you sort of expect him going on to for the rest of the season?
Well, the thing is, with the game, I was left wanting more. I never wanted that game to end. Manchester United were looking so good come the end of the game. Some of the between Bruno and Pogba, and then Bruno played this incredible fastball on the ground into Martial into the middle of the box. Martial turned, couldn't get the finish, but I was just looking at it and being like, that Manchester United team looks terrifying. People are not going to want to have to play against that attack. As for Spurs, I thought, they scored their goal, very Mourinho-esque down, set back down, and, let United come on to them. United obviously got the breakthrough. I thought one thing that was very interesting is, as Paul said, Pogba got taken down, and then Bruno hit the penalty. But then when it went to VAR for the second penalty, Rashford had the ball in his hand after Bruno got taken down. So that's one thing I'm not too keen on. Just like revolving penalty taker scenario at Manchester United. Like just pick one fella and be like, he's the fella who's going to score every time we have a penalty, and that's it. Yeah, what's your take on that?
That's the thing about if you get two penalties in the game, and if the same penalty taker is going to take it again, it's even more of a mind game. So you know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I hit the same. Like it's almost, you can psych yourself out rather than having a fresh person on, because then the keeper's like, all right, someone different. Oh, no way, But like yeah, as you said there, like I want more. I'm really excited to see what happens on Wednesday. Sheffield United, just this break does not seem to have helped them at all.
They're going to be without Egan now as well.
Yeah, but like after seeing the way they defended, then once Egan was sent off, Stephen that was sent off.
Egan. No, John Egan.
Egan was sent off.
Stevens made a howler for the first goal.
That's exactly what I was like. If he went to kick the ball, missed, it went through his legs, and then they scored, which was like that was a calamity in itself. Also, Henderson won't be in goal against United as well, so that's going to be interesting. But like the big, most talked about thing over the weekend, bar the Premier League coming back and Mane pulling a runner, was Roy Keane being box office, lads. Watching this was unbelievable. Now, I saw it at the end of the game, and then I saw the whole clip of Roy Keane, obviously after taking a chill pill at the end of the game. He was way more relaxed. What do we have to say about this? Obviously, he went on an absolute mad one, said that he would give De Gea and Maguire a slap. He'd tell them to get a taxi home from the game. And Paul, when you saw this, like, what's making this? Roy Keane, hilarious box office stuff. Please don't ever leave.
I was watching it live, and I can't believe this fella's actually saying it. He's obviously really, he must have been so cooped up at home and had this built up rage that he was just dying to get it out. Even Ever was looking at him going like, Roy, you're being completely harsh. He's like, I'm not. Like, he should have saved it. I'd be swinging digs at him. Harry Maguire but he basically said he was useless, like, to a degree. Saying that the two of them should get a taxi home to Manchester and stuff like that. And Ever must have said something to him because he was kind of arguing about Ever. And then actually at the end, Ever goes, well, look, if any of the Man United players need a lift back up to Manchester, I'll give them a lift. And the camera went to Roy. He says, Roy, I hope you don't mind. And he's very good. He just kind of give that little keen smirk. But I thought it was funny. But if he's looking, like, he's supposed to be looking for a managerial job, and he's saying stuff like that, I mean, he's an idiot for that sense. No one's going to want to hire him now after hearing that type of stuff, grabbing people and boxed out. In today's game, the way the players are, they're so mollycoddled that you could be saying something. Imagine, like, a young lad coming through and they hear that he's coming along, and if you don't play well from John Walters came out previously and spoken about how ruthless he can be in a dressing room. John Walters actually said he enjoyed Keane's, it was kind of like old school way of going on, but it's too old school. I don't think he can change. And another thing about him is he sets his standards so high for everybody else, even now, obviously, with De Gea, like, call him the most overrated keeper and stuff like that. Like, De Gea hasn't been the De Gea of old, I suppose, in the last 2 seasons. I'd say he's about to agree with me on that.
Yeah,
but he's not bad. He should have probably saved it. But I mean, the amount of times he's saved United over the years as well in his defence.
Yeah, Paul, to be honest, looking at how Roy Keane erupted there as well, I don't think he's going to get another Premier League job anyway. Like,
I'd never get a Premier League job.
No, but then he's going to drive himself into the grave quicker if he takes a championship team as well. So, like, I think Roy Keane doing the TV stuff just suits him. But any other person that had that, like, absolute explosion on TV there. Oh, bear in mind, Roy Keane was way more passionate because it was Man U. Now, if it was someone else, it wouldn't have been the same. But people, like, if Gary Neville had done that, Jamie Carragher, Souness or something, like, they probably would have got the boot off TV.
Yeah, probably. But the thing is, that's what Keane's there for. He gets the views, the clicks, everything. I took the clip and put it up on our Instagram the other day, and it just took off like wildfire. Like, it's just getting shared around like mental. He is box office. If you put up anything online. I remember speaking to someone before when we did Matt Holland interview a few years ago, and they were like, "Did he mention Roy Keane?" I was like, "Yeah, a little bit." He goes, "Well, put it up." Once you put Roy Keane into YouTube, like, it's insane how much people just watch the stuff that he puts up still to this day. Yeah. He is a huge, like, I don't think people realize as much till stuff like that happens how big of a name he is globally. Like, everybody thinks either he's crazy, he's funny, or he's right. And there's like people or else there's the people that don't like him, obviously, for Saipan or call him an idiot or attention seeker. There's those sort of 4 different types of people, I think, but they all watch it. Yeah. So if you like him or hate him, you'll still watch him, and that's the thing with Keane. He's marmite, isn't he? You love him or hate him. Yeah, Ross, what you make of this? And like, obviously the lads that are on Sky Sports, like the Carragers, the Nevilles, the Souness, all have like great careers and have won so many medals you couldn't even count them all. But, like, what is it about Roy Keane that it's like he almost is allowed to do what he wants?
Well, first of all, I thought it was surprising that there was 2 United fellas on it, and there was like no Jamie Redknapp or anything like that. I thought that was
Jamie Redknapp has left.
Oh, he's left?
What?
Yeah, Jamie Redknapp left. I was listening to a podcast today, Gary Neville. He was talking about how Jamie Redknapp's left. He's doing a show with his dad.
All right. Oh, he's left Sky Sports altogether.
But he was on the telly over the weekend.
Gary Neville just said it there on his Sunday show. Maybe
he's not doing like what was that, Friday Night Football? Maybe he's not doing it like that, but maybe the weekend stuff he's doing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I seen him on the weekend standing there with a microphone talking to someone.
Did you?
Pretty sure it was him. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, either way, go on.
But you had like United's most like negative person of all time, and then United's most positive person of all time. Like, it was the ultimate chalk and cheese, and you can sort of tell Roy Keane, like, definitely doesn't like Ever. He's like, that fella making those stupid Instagram videos over there. You know what I mean? Like, you can just tell he doesn't like him. And then...
I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all.
No, I can see it in him. Like, he's just like,
The eyes
come
don't
on now,
lie.
Patrice. Yeah, come on now, Patrice. You know what I mean? Also, like, the fact that Roy Keane hasn't had a haircut in a while made him look even a bit more rugged as well.
Yeah.
I was like, geez, what's going on with that Barna? And then it was just comic genius. I think he gets his point across in an outrageous manner. I was actually only watching today. Someone showing Jermaine Jenas a video of Eamon Dunphy doing his punditry on RTE, and it was absolutely gas. And it must just be an Irish thing, like, you know what I mean? Roy Keane calls it as he sees it. Was an absolute blunder by De Gea, absolutely. But like, Roy Keane played most of his career at Peter Schmeichel, one of the best goalkeepers of all time, and it was very far and few between that Peter Schmeichel made an error like that. And Roy Keane and Peter Schmeichel didn't even get on.
Yeah, do you know what the funny thing is? You just touching it there. That Roy Keane to like the English football is what like Eamon Dunphy was to what we had here in Ireland to watch as well. Because like they're getting that like explosion of Roy Keane over on Sky Sports, and they're like, Jesus, weren't expecting that. Whereas like, remember Eamon Dunphy would have that on when for, like,
Ronaldo's a cod.
all that stuff. And I actually miss that so much. You know what I mean? You get like, there's so many talking points, and you're just like, Jesus Christ, what a legend! Like, you just it was just so not the norm, and you love it. It's so entertaining. It's great to have football back.
RT should have kept Dunphy until he went into the grave.
He has
Just
his own
for like
podcast now, and he has his rants on that, but you can't see him.
Great podcast.
Yeah. It's a brilliant podcast, but like, it's not the same on RTE. Like, I'm like, I want to see him, and like him effing and blowing him, like, Eamon, we're live. It's like, no, we're not. It's like, we are. It's like, shite. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's definitely something that RTE have missed out on now, not having Eamon Dunphy there.
Obviously, Rod Little as well.
Yeah. Stop. The Rod Little quote.
Oh,
I'll tell you who wrote it. I remember his name.
Okay. Yeah, but like, overall, lads, Roy Keane box office. Oh my God!
It's like, I'm surprised he didn't go, right, Roy, what are you doing tomorrow?
Yeah. He should have a podcast. I swear to God, he should have a podcast. I'd listen all the time, man. It'd be hilarious. By the way, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you hit like, make sure to subscribe, and definitely subscribe to Paul's channel at the very, very end as well. Lads, well, like, okay, so that wrapped up a Friday night. That was some crack, I tell you that. Then, like, the next day, obviously, Watford, they drew 1-0 with Leicester. Ben Chilwell with a great goal, and then Dawson scored a bicycle, first ever goal for Watford. And then obviously Arsenal lost to Brighton, and then West Ham lost 2-0 to Wolves. Wolves are such a well-oiled machine. The second goal was brilliant. I think it was Neto. Like, he got a perfect cross from Matt Doherty. Jesus. But
fella thought he was Robin van Persie.
The way he chipped it was just the perfect loft, the perfect cross, and the perfect connection into goal. Nearly took the roof off the net, literally. But Traore, lads, some tricks he can do are brilliant. And I know United are linked with Sancho, but if they don't get Sancho, Traore is the man to get this transfer window. Paul, what do you make of Traore?
I think teams would be doing well to get him for cheap.
How much do you think he costs?
I'd say you're looking 70 mil plus. I'm not even being funny. I think that's what he would go for now. 2 seasons ago, you'd have laughed at me even more for saying that. But he Santo has really looked, coaching wise, he's made him look amazing. Especially the back end of last season, kind of after January last year, coming into this season now. He's really been good, and he's starting to come on now and be a game changer. You know, he was starting games previously, scoring, making assists or whatever, and just the size. Like, I read something that he doesn't even work out. Like, he's just naturally a tank. I don't believe that now, because he is. You know,
someone told me about that. He doesn't lift free weights, but he does the machine weights. So he just says he doesn't lift weights.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm not a gym goer that much, so I wouldn't know what those are. But like, football ability, he always had, but he was just so frustrating. He was like Aidan McGeady for so long.
He does move like that. He actually moves the ball like Aidan McGeady.
He's like in that type of style of player where he would get the ball, he can beat players, but he never had the end product, and he'd take on that extra man that he didn't need to take on, instead of just beating his man and whipping the ball in like he did for the first goal. It was a great ball for Jimenez. Look, if he keeps doing that, I think Wolves could actually push for the Champions League. I know I said last week that they'd struggled to catch United, but if they can continue on like they did the other night against West Ham, like the thing is that he came off the bench. Like, it wasn't like he was starting, so they have strength in numbers there and quality
Is
to
he
come
almost,
off that.
Paul, is he almost more dangerous to be able to come off the bench? You know, the other team's tired and he's by far the fastest player on the pitch.
Yeah,
I'm strongest.
Yeah, I'd say so, because you've been playing against this fella, whoever I don't know who came off from.
Maybe Jota or something, was it?
Someone like that maybe. But so they're marking that winger, whoever it is, who would play in front of Doherty, and then whoever the fullback was, Cresswell, say, would be marking him the whole game, and then he's going off, and then next minute you see this fella fresh coming off the bench. You know he's going to roast you, and you're just like, oh no. Well, I know from playing from a fullback, but I never played at that level. But when you see another fella going on, he's good, he's quick, and you're like, oh no. Like, and the fitness as well would be a massive thing as well, because the first game back or whatever. So he's seeing Traore, and he's just like, oh my god. He's probably looking at him going like, this is like Ronaldo coming at me at that time of the game. Like, but to be fair to Traore, and the coach, if turned him into a really good player, that everyone kind of knew that he had that ability at Villa and Middlesbrough, because he was at Barcelona. He came through La Masia. So everyone knew he had the ability, but it was the frustrating part of his game where he would just take on the extra man. But he just seems to be doing the right thing all the time, and he has his head up, and he's getting lots of assists. I think he was getting lots of goals before that as well. And even in the Europa League, like, the teams hated playing against him too.
Yeah, they're still in that. Ross, if Traore leaves, Paul thinks it'll be about 70 million, which actually Wolves don't need to sell him. Who do you think he goes to?
I think he might go back to the homeland, back to Barcelona. I think it's very much a possibility, especially if they're offloading Ousmane Dembele. He's a very unique talent that is very hard to replicate. I think that's probably the best way to describe him. I remember seeing him play for Middlesbrough against United, and he made an absolute show United's defence twice, but I knew he couldn't shoot. So it was fine. So he actually went one-on-one with the goalkeeper, I can't remember who it was at the time, and missed both times. But his end product is seriously improving. So why not? He's a Spanish international, goes back to Spain, plays for Barcelona again.
Yeah, if I was Liverpool, I'd try and get him as well.
I think with Leroy Sané going to Bayern, I think Man City might try and get him. Pep
That's not a bad shout. That's really not a bad shout there as well, Paul. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because of the Pep connection as well. Also, the game after that, Bournemouth lost to Crystal Palace. Bournemouth seemed to be just sliding, and one of their best players last year, Fraser, he's not playing now for the rest of the season because he's now going to free, and they're like, right, if you're not with us, you're against us. Then when Sunday rolled around, Newcastle, we discussed this earlier, won 3-0 against Sheffield United. That is an absolutely brilliant result for Newcastle. When I was looking at Newcastle's team as well, I was like, you know what? They actually have some good players. It's just the problem most of the time they have is they're all looking to move on to a different team. But, someone like Shelby, he was at Liverpool, he can put out some good balls. Let's call a spade a spade. I know who's the striker?
Gollington.
Yeah, he got his first goal. It was so funny how he got it, but there was no fans to celebrate with, But Newcastle,
I rate your man Maximilian. I think he's actually very, very good. He looks to always be beating someone, and he looks very creative.
Yeah, I think he does lack a bit of end product, but Newcastle, this is actually a good season for Newcastle, especially after they got rid of Benitez, and fair play to Steve Bruce. He's done way better than people expected. Then Villa go into the second game. They went 1-0 up against Chelsea, and then Chelsea came back with 2 goals. Pulisic changed the game, but this was fully expected, lads, wasn't it? Going into the game, a Chelsea win was something that everyone expected. Paul?
Yeah, I was surprised if Villa took the lead.
Exactly, and Chelsea were dominating the whole game. I couldn't believe they let them go.
Yeah, but at that point, I was just kind of like, what's going on? We spoke last week about how Chelsea's kind of inconsistencies come into place, and I thought this could be a game that they lose at half time. That's what I was thinking. But then they just showed their quality, what they have, and they can bring off players off the bench that would get into most other teams in and around the league, So,
Yeah.
but that's what happens if you've got that mega money. I thought Villa were lucky, but Villa they don't look convincing. They should have been beaten by Sheffield United. They were going to be beaten by Chelsea. I think every one of us would agree on that. And then if they've got to really pull the socks up for the next few games, or they'll be gone. Whereas Chelsea, it was a convincing win, which is what they kind of needed. That'll give them a boost now for the rest of the season. So,
as I would say, if you take Jack Grealish out of that Aston Villa team, there's a banger championship off them.
Yeah, it also seems like Aston Villa need to score in like the 85th minute to hold out. I mean, the earlier they scored, the more they're in trouble. It was almost like Ireland a few years ago. But Paul just touched on something there, and we didn't even bring it up. The 5 substitutions, like that has been so important to some teams, hasn't it, Ross?
Oh, absolutely. But also, I think that definitely favours the better teams. The teams with the bigger squads. As you saw, it looks like someone forgot to tell Carlo Ancelotti about the 5 substitutions against Liverpool. He brought Moise Keane on in the 92nd minute, which I think would break my heart if someone told me I was coming on in the 92nd minute. It's one of those things where Man United definitely benefited from it. They were able to bring on 5 people. Arsenal didn't benefit it, but I'm sure they were grateful for it when they were playing Man City, where they were, after 25 minutes, they'd already used 2 substitutions. It's definitely going to show, sort of more managers' hands and who are the better managers when they have the opportunity to impact the game earlier. I mean, something that you never would have seen really beforehand, or would be very rare. It might be a substitution after half an hour, but it could be more prevalent now if you have 5 subs.
Yeah, is this also going to happen just for the end of this season? And also these water breaks as well. I'm not a big fan either. Paul, do you know anything?
I don't know anything about the subs after this season carrying on, but the water breaks, it kills the momentum of the game.
Doesn't it? They have to bring that away.
I think they will. I think it's just because it's the middle of the summer. I think that's the only reason why they have it in. That's the only reason I can think of anyway. Even though it's not even hot.
Yeah, I think it was raining in one of the games as well. It was actually raining in the Man City game. I remember it was lashing rain. But
I actually hate the water breaks. I'm like, the coronavirus should not signal more water breaks. That was nothing to do with that.
Yeah, I actually said if they're tired, they should drink the rain. Then obviously the game that wrapped up the weekend, it could have been Liverpool being crowned as champions if other results had went their way. When Seamus Coleman, obviously with a man of the match performance, Paul. I know you're a big fan of Seamus, but what you have to say of that game overall? Like, were you happy with what Carlo Ancelotti implemented, and how big of a loss was not having Salah and like Robertson in the team? Because if you look at Liverpool's squad, once if their next 5 subs, not really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, looking around, I was actually, when I seen the lineup, I was a bit shocked. Gordon starting, Tom Davis in the midfield as well, Iwobi. I wasn't totally convinced. But when I seen the game play out the way it did, obviously Liverpool were going to dominate possession anyway, with or without, Robertson or Salah. They definitely didn't have as much bounce in them as they normally would. They weren't as as electric, but that's probably due to the first game back and so on. But I think Everton much more depleted than Liverpool in terms of the squad, and people were saying, "Oh, Liverpool without Delph wasn't there. There was Yerry Mina wasn't there. We were big players for Everton. Our midfield's terrible anyway. Other than Gomez, there's not a player in there that anyone strikes you with confidence. You look at our bench, we had 2 goalkeepers on the bench because we're that depleted at the minute with injury. So Walcott wasn't there either. But I actually prefer Walcott because you know what he'll give you rather than Iwobi. Iwobi just gives the ball away all the time. Now, after about 20 minutes, I thought he played well. He put in a good shift. But as an overall performance, I thought it was a tactical masterclass from Ancelotti. He had a game plan. He had the players that he wanted to stick to it. He always plays Coleman against the bigger teams for his defensive qualities. This is why I don't understand when all these Irish fans are saying, "Oh, Coleman's finished," because he's, anytime we have a big result against a bigger team, Coleman's always starting right back. And he kept Mane is probably the best attacker in the league at the moment at bay. And he's done that for a few seasons when we've played against him as well. Never really gets the credit he deserves because Everton now can go out and buy players and all these star names are there, but he's the one person who actually has the true values of the club. He carries himself well. He's a true role model and professional.
100%.
Same thing with Ireland, but like Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, they put in a shift up top, like as we knew they would. But everybody I thought worked hard, and I don't really remember Liverpool having any major chances of note. I remember Luca Dean got booked for silly, like the ref. I don't know how he's given that as a yellow card and a free kick. Wins the ball. They could have scored from that. But even Pickford was good in goal. I'm normally quite critical of Pickford. I thought everybody on the Everton team played well defensively, and probably could have won it towards the end with Tom Davis's strike off the post when we were really coming into it. But you hear it so many times. Oh, you'll never have a better chance to win a Merseyside derby. The last 2 seasons or 3 seasons. And we just haven't been able to put the ball in the net. And that's been the biggest issues. And that's why I'm excited to see what Carlo will bring in now with the transfer market and stuff like that. See who we get in and, see his ideas. Because he hasn't signed a player. I think he signed some young lad. He was on the bench yesterday. But
yeah, he hasn't started a starter.
No. So it'll be interesting to see who he brings in. And I think it's exciting for Everton to have a manager of his caliber. We spoke off air how he's going to attract players. So I do think it's exciting times for Everton, but it will come down to financial fair play as well. We'll have to sell someone to bring in some big names due to financial fair play. But it will be interesting to see what way that transpires with financial fair play because of the coronavirus and what way, because we'll have to spend in the means as other teams have. And yeah, I think it's exciting for Everton, but great result. I would have taken a draw before the game yesterday. Liverpool obviously pointed that they didn't win the game, but I mean, I don't really care about them.
Yeah. Ross, after the game, Jimmy Carragher spoke about how once Liverpool have one of their starting front three of Mane's, Salah or Firmino out, they're just not the same outfit, and how they have to invest in a front three player. What's your thoughts on this as a biased Manchester United fan, and who do you think would fit in?
I think it was more so because Salah was out, made a massive difference. Because if you actually look at it, it actually favoured Everton so much more. Because Firmino and Minimo both looked like they wanted to come to the ball, and Everton were happy to let them come to the ball and then deal with them then, as opposed to Salah and Mane running behind, and with their pace, they become obviously a lot more, terrifying in behind. So I thought Everton actually coped very, very well with it. And I thought they made it very, very difficult for Liverpool. Yeah, I do think, Carragher's right. Liverpool do need more firepower up top. But the only problem is that it's going to be very hard for someone to go there and know that their starting spot is the bench.
Yeah, I think
that's
that's
Shaqiri.
Yeah, exactly with Shaqiri, and then even Origi just is definitely not up. I know he's like their Solskjaer, but he's not going to take any one of their places. But I think that was one of the main reasons why Werner didn't go as well. He's like, here, look, I'm now on my next stage. I want to be starting, not sitting on the bench here. But who comes to mind, Paul? Give me one name that you think would be a good player to go there, and then Ross, I'll ask you.
For Liverpool as a front three player.
Yeah.
Traore off Wolves might be, but I wouldn't like to see him go there. I think that would be scary. I think he would be, but a realistic target. I like a man off Leverkusen, Diaby. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
I think he's the type of player Klopp would get, and obviously playing in the German league as a realistic player. I haven't heard any links or anything like that, but I watched him for Leverkusen, and he looks like a good attacker.
Ross,
I'm gonna give you two. I'm gonna go with someone else on Leverkusen, Leon Bailey. He looks very, very good also. I actually think there's a bit of a personality clash there between him and the Leverkusen management. But someone who I think is actually free this summer, who could definitely tide them over for a year, is Dries Mertens from Napoli, because he can play anywhere across that front three. And I think he's out of contract, so they could definitely do with signing him up for a year.
I heard I heard when he broke the record, he was going to sign a new deal. So I think he might be signing a new deal. I'm not sure now, but they said it on the commentary.
Maybe Carlo Ancelotti could give him a phone call and ask him, does he want to come play on the blue side of Merseyside? Ask him, does he want to come to Liverpool when he gets there, show him the Everton jersey?
I wouldn't say no to that, but he scored a goal there recently, and he became the Napoli's top scorer. And they were saying that after that he's likely to sign a new contract. I don't know if he has or he hasn't, but other than that, yeah, he would be out of contract. But as far as Everton and kind of up top, I think Calvert-Lewin's improved so much from what he was. Like, if you said to me a year and a half ago that Calvert-Lewin would be our main striker scoring goals. I know he didn't score yesterday, but he's just such a handful, and he's really gone up in levels, and I'm excited to see what Ancelotti can do. You can obviously see some of the fruits of what Ancelotti's been doing with him. He's keeping him more central, because usually he used to go wander in the channels to try and run for balls. And then obviously with Richarlison's a top level player, but the problem is he's at the moment he's trying to carry games by the scruff of the neck by himself, and he's gotten a bit too frustrated. Like, as you would have seen yesterday, like, he should have squared a ball to Iwobi at one stage, and we'd be sitting here talking about an Everton win. But he was trying to make himself be the hero. So I think Ancelotti has a bit of a job in his hands in terms of getting rid of Deadwood. I think we touched on it earlier, but like Tom Davis, I was really surprised he even started the game, because normally he gets so wound up in these derbies that he just plays awful. And he actually looked surprisingly calm yesterday. I don't know whether that was without the crowd. Anthony Gordon, he was okay in flashes, but I thought it was a crazy game to bring him in for. But it just shows that Ancelotti is a big fan of his, because he's only really started kind of getting a look in since Ancelotti came along. So he's been obviously working with him. And then
that was actually the first time I've seen him as well.
Yeah, we like, as Everton fans, we wouldn't have seen too much of him either. Like, he's come off the bench a few times, but never really done anything of note. I think, like, we play Norwich next, and I think that'll be more of a game where he can kind of maybe show his quality. And then, because you're looking around the team, Bernard and Sigurdsson were on the bench. Sigurdsson did well when he came on. I really didn't think he would. What are you laughing for?
No, like we're having like I mean, no, it's like we're just going over everything the whole time.
Well, I'm just saying about Sigurdsson that he basically.
No, it's good. I know you love it. We do it all the time with Man U. Go on.
But Sigurdsson coming off the bench, he actually done well for us, and I think he actually helped us kind of towards the end of the game. Well, we should have won the game, but
is he your most paid player, highest paid player?
I think Bernard is.
Oh, is he? Okay.
But he came in a free.
He actually looked all right when he came on, Bernard.
I think he is all right. He's tricky. He's quite small.
He's a bit lightweight, though. Yeah. I think that's his issue. I like him, but I was sitting there with I was watching it with my cousin and my uncle in their house, and you know, they really don't like Bernard. I don't know why they call him a flake. I'm just like, I don't see, you know, what he does worse than anybody else. But he just be in for like 3 games, and then you won't see him for another 3 games. So he's one of those. He's kind of weird.
You should probably play him on the wing, maybe, and like behind Calvert-Lewin up front, and then a bank of 3, and then maybe put him left or right or in the middle.
He usually plays off the left, and he drifts into a number 10 position as like since Ancelotti's came in. But Ancelotti's like tweaked so many little things. But again, it'll all kind of come down to who Ancelotti brings in next season. I just want to get this season over and done with, see who he brings in, and then that's more what I'm looking forward to.
Right, Paul. Before we go into next week's fixtures, give us 2 players you want to see at Everton next year.
Oh, it's hard to pick ones that are realistic. We need a centre mid. He's not really going to take us to the next level, but I'd like to get him in for a couple of seasons. Decore off Watford, just realistic ones. Yeah, I don't want to be, you know, saying that we're going to get
destroyer.
And Rabiot from Juve. Is he at Juve now or PSG?
Yeah, it's at Juve. Yeah,
we're linked with him strongly, so I'd probably get them in, and maybe one more striker. I know that's 3, but that's 2 players off the top of my head I could give you.
Jeez, what's called Bernard? If it would be, do you remember when Peter Stringer used to stand in between Malcolm O'Kelly and Paul O'Connell in the national anthem? That's what that would be like with Rabiot and Decore in midfield.
He is tiny. Like, I don't even know what height he is, but he's tiny.
He is very small, isn't he? Yeah, well then, I think Liverpool realistically are going to try and get Traore, but if you're buying a player for 70 million, you can't leave him on the bench. You know, that's the biggest problem. But
70 million is cheap these days, though, Barry.
I know, but like having a 70 million player on the bench, and they're
actually, do you know what?
Money as it is.
Sorry, you know, with the coronavirus, the prices actually might go down rather than up. You never know.
Yeah, but that also means like the likes of Wolves are going to be in Europe next year as well. Won't need to sell. You know what I mean? Do you know what's probably going to happen? If Villa get relegated, everyone's going to be like, "Here, look, go for Jack Grealish because he can play in multiple positions. He can play in the top left, top right, in midfield, like as a number 8."
He'll probably want to go somewhere where he's guaranteed games, though, you know.
Yeah, well, still.
Top team, he wouldn't, you know.
I could see him going to Liverpool and be the next Adam Lallana.
Yeah, he would be.
Yeah, it would be. But where you see Jack Grealish, like before we go into next week's fixtures, Jack Grealish, lads, what does it make from? Because Tim Sherwood said after that United should probably try and go and get him. But I don't even know where his best position is or where you'd start him. Paul, I'll ask you first. Where is Jack Grealish's best position and in what formation?
I don't rate Jack Grealish that highly as everybody else does. I think that's a real English media hype train at the minute with him. I mean, I said it to you last week. If he's that good, Villa wouldn't be where they are.
Yeah, but one man doesn't really make a team, you know.
I know, but still, you know, he should be creating and scoring goals more often than not if he's a top player. Other players have done it. I'm not solely saying that he's responsible for Villa being where they are as well, by the way. I'm just saying, I just don't think he's as amazing as people are saying he is. As I said, I don't think he'd walk into anyone of the traditional top six. I don't think he'd walk in. He might get into an Arsenal squad, but other than that, you know, I wouldn't see him getting in a game at Spurs. I wouldn't see him getting a game at United, Chelsea. No way. You know, he's on probably the same level as Ross Barkley, kind of. Maybe just a little bit below it, and he struggles to get into the Chelsea team. He's probably best as a number 10 or out left, but I just really don't think he's as good as everybody makes him out to be.
Ross, what are your thoughts?
I just think Paul sort of touched on it there and it sort of sparked away to me. I think like maybe Arsenal should go from, because he actually has a bit of fight in him, which is something that Arsenal don't have. So
okay. Yeah,
I can actually see there.
Then what sort of position and what formation? Because I really can't pin him down to a spot.
I would say if you sort of play a 4-2-3-1, he could play in the number 10 role, or you could play out wide left, like Paul said, depending on what other personnel you have in there.
Yeah, it's just because he's more of a he played almost like a free bird almost. Whereas like as you go up and
Ronaldinho.
Put it this way, he as the team.
Paul hating that comparison.
Probably Joe Cole. Like that's sort of just free roll. But like as you get into the bigger and better teams, they're more structured and more set in their ways, and people go up together and defend together. And like I don't know, I haven't seen him be tested in that sort of that. Like his football knowledge hasn't really been put in that role. Maybe if once he gets and starts playing for England and he's in a more structured system, you can see how he actually works. But at the moment now, it's just like they try and give it to him as much as they can, and he sort of does his own thing, and the stuff does work out. But look at the way someone like Charlie Adam, who was being the main man for Blackpool all them years ago, and then he got his move to Liverpool and did nothing. So like I mean, it could be a big man in a small
big
pond.
fish.
Big fish in a small pond, yeah. And
what's your take on him, Barry? What do you think is his best position, and who do you think he should sign for?
See, the way he plays on the left, I think is good for him, but I couldn't see it working out for United, and like also United need a right hand side player, but his main thing is to cut in and sort of shoot or cross the ball in, and that sort of dynamic, almost like
Ashley Young-esque.
But like no, but Ashley Young but he is a very polarizing person, and whoever he goes to, he's going to sell thousands and thousands of jerseys as well. You know, because even Mason Mount is now the face of Nivea for Chelsea. But I don't know. He'd almost need to be the player in the number 10 role, and then people almost have to work. The team needs to be built around Jack Grealish. That's really it. And I don't see any really top 4. Top 6 teams doing it, bar someone like Arsenal, as Paul said. Or did Paul say? Oh no, Ross said Arsenal. I think Arsenal, if Arsenal are going to build a team, they need to start from scratch. Why not get Jack Grealish in? That's actually a good point, Ross. I think you said that, did you? Or did Paul say?
Yeah.
We both touched on it, but Ross made a point of it.
I think that's a good shout for a top 6 team, even though Arsenal are coming 10th or something. But if you're going to build a team around someone, he'd be a great option for them, because if they get relegated, Arsenal are like, right, that's someone we should build a team around. Because
they really get behind the kind of young English players. You look at Wilshere was there. Like, if he wasn't injured, everybody at Arsenal loved him when he was there, you know, and everyone wanted to see him do well. Fortunately, he just kept getting injured, and he eventually got let go.
And that's the
everybody.
Thing. Yeah, Jack Grealish, because of his background in Ghana and stuff, he's solid as an ox, and he doesn't seem to get injured much. He's always there.
Got dropped by that fan though, didn't he?
I think that was a bit of a dive, wasn't it? Lads, this is great crack as always. Before I get into the Premiership results predictions round next, last week, now we all did give our predictions for today's game, which is Man City versus Burnley. I said 2-0, Ross said 3-1, and Paul said 3-0. Now, do you want to stick with them, or we just put them down and move on to everything else?
I'm happy to stick.
No, just stick with what I said. You know what I mean? You don't want to go back on your words, you know?
Grand, we'll stick it out. Last week, after we predicted the results, I actually kept I wrote everything down, so I kept and I was texting the lads, letting them know what the story was. But so make sure whoever's listening right now, make sure you let us know what you think. So people are probably walking down the road listening to this, being like, "Oh, I think that'll be 2-0 or 3-1 or 6-0." But I actually got 2 results right. Ross got 1, and Paul got 1. So the uncrowned king is myself. I said that Man City beat Arsenal 2. I said Wolves would beat West Ham 2-0, and I said that Chelsea would beat Villa 2-1. Ross said it would be a draw, Villa versus Sheffield United. Paul got 2-1 for Brighton against Arsenal. You know what I mean? There we go. But right, we are going to...
Oh, you would have made the most amount of money.
Yeah, I was the one result I was the most surprised about.
Yeah.
I actually forgot that I picked that.
Yeah, well, we would have got like winners of games. We would have all done way better. But actual physically guessing the scores is another thing. But this weekend there is FA Cup on as well, so I'm going to just go day by day the fixtures and guess the results. Yeah, there's FA Cup on this week as well. So
football feast.
Oh man, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So for people right now, if you are enjoying the shows, make sure to like, hit a comment, and make sure to subscribe. Paul, let us know your information while I'm just sorting this out, and then I'll get into the results.
Which information?
Just your crack, man.
What do you mean?
Where to find you?
On Facebook and Instagram at Irish Football Fan TV, and Twitter is at Irish Fan TV. And if you're on YouTube as well, we have a YouTube channel there where all our videos tend to go before they go anywhere else. So yeah, check them out. Yeah.
Ross, do you want to say anything about your Tinder account or anything for people to swipe on?
Yeah, it hasn't been active for the last 2.5 years, but surprised the missus still stays with me. But look, you know what, right? One of us puts down young Theo every night, right? And Jade put down Theo last night. And then she normally texts me being like, right, he's asleep. And then I go up because if the two of us are there, he doesn't sleep because he finds it more entertaining. She put him asleep and then she fell asleep. And I was still downstairs for half an hour by myself being like, is he asleep yet? Is he asleep yet? Late in 12:30 by the time. And then we have like a camera in the room to like see him when he's asleep. Turn on the camera and there she is fast asleep. I was like, can't believe she left me like that. On Father's Day of all days.
That's
out cold.
That's outrageous, man. I'm gonna clip that up itself and put it out. Right, here we go. Leicester City versus Brighton. I think obviously because I got 2 right last week, I'll go first and then we take it from there. Right, it's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, you were cheating last week.
Yeah, I'll go Leicester 2-1. Okay, Ross.
I'm gonna say Leicester 2-0.
Paul.
I'm gonna go Brighton 2-1 again.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
on the Brighton.
Okay, Spurs versus West Ham. Ross.
I'm gonna say 1-1.
Paul.
2-0 Spurs.
I'll go 1-0 Spurs. Okay. Man U versus Sheffield United, Paul.
United win. Egan's out of that one, isn't he? 2-0 Manchester United.
I'm going to say 3-1 Manchester United.
I'll go 2-0 as well. Newcastle versus Aston Villa, Ross.
Newcastle, Aston Villa. Newcastle 2-1.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same. Newcastle win that.
I'll go with the same as well. Okay, Ross, you may as well go again. Norwich versus Everton.
Paul sitting there. Everton 2-0.
No, I'd say this. I actually would say the same. I think Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison probably to score.
Okay, I'll go 0-1 for Everton. Wolves versus Bournemouth. I'll go 2-0. Ross.
I'm going to say 3-0.
Ross 3-0. Paul.
I'll say 2-1. Late Bournemouth goal.
2-1 to Bournemouth.
2-1 to Wolves. Sorry.
2-1 to Wolves. Okay. Then Liverpool versus Crystal Palace.
3-0 Pool.
Ross 3-0. Paul.
I'm gonna say 2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
with Palace taking the lead.
That's actually a good show. I'll go 2-0. Okay, then on Thursday, Burnley versus Watford. Paul.
It's hard to judge Burnley without watching them. I'll say 2-1 to Watford.
2-1 to Watford.
I'm going to say a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I'll go 0-0. Shout out to Roy Brady, 4 years since he scored a header against Italy. Paul, where were you for that?
In a bar in Thailand.
Nice. Then Ross, where were you?
I think we were both in the stream, were we?
No, I actually watched it at home because of a loser.
Oh.
Southampton versus Arsenal. Ross.
1-0 Southampton.
Oh my God. Paul.
Southampton have a good record against Arsenal, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 Southampton win.
I'm actually going to go for that as well. The Arsenal.
Danny Ings.
Danny Ings is actually all right.
You know, Danny Ings has the most goals in open play this season in the Premier League.
Danny Ings is good. Then a big game, Chelsea versus Man City.
City winning that.
Yeah, I'd say 2-0 City.
I'm going to say 2-1. I can see both teams scoring.
I'll go 2-0 as well.
I said 2-1.
Yeah, I have that written down. Sorry, Paul. I'll go 2-0 City.
Paul,
you said 2-1 City, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then Saturday, Aston Villa versus Wolves. Paul.
Wolves are winning that. 2-0.
I'm going to say 1-1 for that game.
Okay, then I'll go.
Villa have to find muster a result somewhere.
That's a derby as well.
No, yeah. I'm going 2-0 Wolves. Then FA Cup is back on Saturday. Norwich versus Man U.
Oh.
Paul.
Man United are winning that.
Very biased, man.
What scores? 3-0 to United.
I'm going to say 2-1 just because I think United might play like a shitter team.
I'll go 2-0 for United. Watford versus Southampton, this in the league on Sunday.
I like Watford to win 1-0.
Paul.
I'd probably go the same. They're in a relegation battle. They needed the win.
I'll go 1-1. Then FA Cup. There's 3 FA Cup games then on Sunday. Sheffield United versus Arsenal. Paul.
I'd go 1-0 Sheffield.
Okay, Ross.
I'm going to say 2-1 Sheffield United. Big John Egan will be back for that one.
Yeah.
I'll go
Destroyer.
Oh, does it go at extra time if you say a draw?
I think so.
Yeah, no replays. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, it would have to be. Wouldn't have extra time and penalties. The 5 subs would be interesting then.
I'll just make it easier and say 2-1 Sheffield United, right? Leicester City versus Chelsea. I'll go. Oh, that's a good game. I'll go 1-1.
Yeah, but what's that 3rd versus 4th?
Yeah, it's FA Cup though.
Yeah. Fancy Leicester for that one. 2-1.
I'm gonna say Chelsea 2-1 just because I think their squad is better.
Okay, then the last quarterfinal FA Cup game, Newcastle versus Man City.
Man City reserves 2, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, I got the same as Ross. 2-0.
2-0. I'll go 1-0 Man City. Then this time next week, Crystal Palace versus Burnley in the league. I'll go 1-0 Crystal Palace. Ross, going to go.
2-1 Palace.
2-0 Palace.
2-0 Palace.
Burnley are the only team not to play yet, aren't they?
Yeah, but they have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
That was actually way more games than was this week. So that did go on a bit wild. But we'll see again who's the king. Basically, lads, you want to separate it from the league and the FA Cup? So it's like 2.
No, just leave it all in the one. Predictions are predictions.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. That's everything. We went over what's coming back with the Irish football, the Irish Football League, Champions League, the Europa League coming back as well. Arsenal, whatever's going on there. Pogba's back, and then Roy Keane breaking the internet. The ins and outs of everything as well, and then our predictions as well. I think we covered everything. Lads, Paul, anything else to say? Because we are coming back next week. Hopefully you are too.
Yeah, it should be. No, not much to say. Obviously, it's great having football back, and we've a match nearly every day.
Yeah.
I think even some days we've got 2 games, maybe 3. So it's just great to have it back, and just it's something to look forward to. You guys should just chill out on the couch,
Yeah.
get a takeaway or whatever. This podcast should be sponsored by like Just Eat or something like that. Give away little vouchers or whatever. But you just sit there, have your takeaway, watch the football, and it's just great. Like, and you can even get your friends around and watch a match together, which you weren't able to do in isolation and everything like that. So it's just great to have it back. I can't stress it enough. I think it's just great for everybody's mood, whether you're winning or you're losing. It's just great to have it back.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The people that tuned into this show are just like, the football is great. And then like this one, obviously, I actually have the thumbnail already done saying Roy Keane is box office. So I'll say this one could do all right. Ross, what do you think, man? It's always good crack talking about football, isn't it? Especially the way you keep it saved for a week. You know what I mean? And then you get to unleash.
I do like it. I love having Paul on the show as well. I think it adds an added touch. It probably keeps us in check on going on a 2-hour Man United tangent.
Yeah, instead of going a narrow tangent to Everton.
Yeah, which I don't mind. But no, I really do enjoy it. And anyone who's still with us at this stage of the video, we must be over an hour into it, I'd say, at this stage. I hope you do like and subscribe. And leave us a comment. Make sure to get over to Paul's channel, Irish Football Fan TV, and do the same. He's producing some fantastic content out there. So, you have to support each other and grow together.
Yeah, you know what I mean? To be honest, lads, we're 3 hardworking lads, and we're all doing it because we love it as well. So that's cool crack. So everyone tuning in, thanks a million. Make sure to like and subscribe because we're nearly on 1,000 on YouTube. We're nearly on 500 on Spotify. So thanks a million for tuning in, guys. I'll put Paul's video at the very, very end of this as well. So if you want to check out how Paul started out Irish Football Fan TV, you can definitely do that. What I would have put at the end of this, either Stephanie Roach, Cian Ballaghay, or Matt Holland. Paul, you pick.
Matt.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.
Stay energized.